what they intend doing or what they should be doing to strengthen the electoral process, especially when we've got some elections coming through, not just this year. You also have that of 2014 and 15. Well, Mr. Chima Nnaji joins us now. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's interesting because, I mean, whatever INEC puts forward will always be x-rayed, examined with a telescope, if you will, by politicians, everybody, as a matter of fact, because elections, big business in this part of the world. But if we look at, because they talked about the fact that, who knows, electronic voting may be possible in 2015, and then we're going to have this permanent voting cards for those who have registered. Of course, the question will then arise, those who haven't, what would they do? Would they be given a second look in? So all of this, do you think INEC making the right steps to get us to perhaps where we need to be, or at least say 80% improvement?
I think that electronic voting is just the way. In fact, electronics in everything, because it is a highly depersonalized process. And we need that to decongest the traffic of corruption. Because every law in this country is observed in its breach. Once you pronounce or enact a law, some people go back and sit down to study and digest that law, not for the purposes of observing the law, but seeing the loopholes by which they will profit from the breaches. That has been the Nigerian character. So that you see the majority of Nigerians are law-abiding, but they are very powerless. The few Nigerians that are not law-abiding are very powerful. And it goes without saying, just like I used to quote this, Jesse the Body Ventura. He used to be a wrestler. I think he turned out to be a governor in one of the states in the U.S. He said he was the leader of the immoral minority who were struggling very hard to overcome and defeat the moral majority. And that's the way the world is headed. So it is very, very important that INEC should pursue that objective of electronic voting and succeed. It's not just statement of intention. If it intends truly, 50% of our electoral problems would have been solved if it has the genuine intention, not jactitations or mere platitudes. Now, the next thing will now be hard work. How is it that the banks, in a very few number of years, have been able to transform from the analog system that we were used to? In fact, in those days, there was this advert. You say, if you are going to the bank, you carry a mat. There were cheers as if you were in a cathedral, because you were going to be in a long wait. But nowadays, we have various platforms. And how did we achieve that? Through electronics engineering. And you do the words leapfrog, transformation. These are things that you use to show that you do not necessarily have to follow the normal process that have been known to man.
Yeah, but can we use the banking sector as any basis of comparison with the political system? Because, I mean, you have people who will still argue that, of course, a lot of Nigerians, a high percentage, don't have any accounts whatsoever. So the banking sector may not be
the banking sector simply deployed a technology that exists and tailored it to its own need. I don't know whether I get the point. Now, we have cars. Initially, people thought that cars could only be driven by those who have limbs. But we have exotic cars today driven by people who are physically challenged in terms of their legs and even arms. And they are doing very well. Yet, there are no less cars. I don't know whether I get the point. So the issue is deploying technology for the right purposes.
So why are people pessimistic about this, saying that we will always find loopholes?
That is where you talk about that politics, Nigeriana. the type of politics we play here is destructive, because most of the people involved in it are pedestrian politicians. They are not evolved. They only see things in very myopic kaleidoscope instead of looking at the big picture. Let me tell you, it is better that I have a basin of rice and I take a part of it. I don't care what happens to the rest. Everybody eats and is happy. Rather than struggling that the rice that must be prepared should be the one I should stay in the cocoon of my room and enjoy it and be stoned by those who are hungry outside. Does it make sense? So we should begin to play robust politics informed by knowledge and integrity. And let me tell you, those people who are holding us down are on their way dying. The younger ones are restive. The ones that are evolved are leaving this country. Majority of those who are on the line are taking up arms and they are fighting the system. So if we do not take time, there will be a very serious catastrophic effect of the kind of damage those who are on their way to the grave have inflicted on the psyche of this country.
You know, people have always, I think, just after the election, even our first guest also mentioned that everyone has started using that as a yardstick or as an example. What exactly can we possibly say we have learned from that we can use in subsequent elections to strengthen what we already have?
A good manager is not only interested in the results, he's interested in the cost of that result. They have, for example, this 5,000 naira note people are talking about. If it is true that you spend 40 billion naira to mint 5,000 naira notes, it simply defeats all the arguments, because the cost is monumental in a society where poverty, abject poverty, is working with two legs. Two legs. So the issue is not whether you have achieved the result. It is the cost of achieving that result.
You know,
if it takes your life to provide lunch for your children, would you embark on that journey?
People say that the reason why this is drawing so much attention, I mean, I hate to digress here, but they say that last year it cost us about 47 billion naira to, you know, continue to print the small notes that we currently print, and even 40 billion seems to be an improvement.
You see, with my own take, I don't want to debate so much, but I think it's an egotistic outing. It is about some people in leadership position trying to leave what they may consider a legacy. Okay? We are always embarking on battle of legacy in a parochial sense. During my time, this happened. It is not what happened to Nigeria thereafter. We have seen that. So, but that is a different kettle of fish. The issue now is talking about Edo State. What was the cost? What was the cost for going for the outing on that Edo State election? Nobody will ever address that. In terms of troops deployment, police deployment, in all fronts, the attention and the opportunity costs of all the attention that were in a matter of how many hours of one day, and all that, nobody's addressing that. Now, if you replicate that in 36 states, either simultaneously or serially, then maybe this country will go bankrupt.